Are you ready for another story? All right, who is Samuel? The prophet. Who was Saul? A king. Who is Jonathan? Aha. Yes.
Saul's son.
Right, Saul's son. And today I want to tell you a story about Jonathan, Saul's son, right? So he's the prince, right? Saul is the king, and Jonathan was his son, the prince. And how many armies of the Philistines gathered around to try and destroy the Israelites? Do you remember the number? Yes? Huh? 14,000 more. 1,000,000 more. 1,000,000,000,000 more. Infinity? Close. The Bible says there were so many people in the army of the Philistines that they were like the sand on the seashore. And everybody became scared. Everybody ran away, and they started going into hiding. And King Saul only had 600 men ready to fight. And out of the 600, his son and his armor bearer. So an armor bearer is somebody who carried the sword and like the shield. Jonathan and the armor bearer started thinking, hey, you know what? Anything is possible with God. If God is on our side, numbers don't matter. Let's see if God is on our side. If God is on our side, we can defeat our enemies no matter how many they are. Numbers don't matter. And he says, but we have to make sure that God is on our side, right? Because if God isn't on our side, we're in trouble. So Jonathan says, all right, let's go over there to the Philistine camp. And this is the sign that we're looking for if God is on our side or not. If they say, hey, you, wait there and we'll come down and get you. That means God isn't on our side. Then we won't go up there. We won't fight. We'll just stay where we are, and maybe we'll just run away. But if they say, hey, you guys, come up here, and we'll show you something. If they tell us to come up to where they are, then that's a sign that God is on our side. Then let's go, and with God on our side, we can defeat all our enemies, right? So they went over to the Philistines, and they were all encamped. Hundreds of billions of soldiers, right? As many as the sand on the seashore. And when they saw Jonathan and his armor bearer, just two people coming towards them, they looked down and they said, hey, the Hebrew people are coming out of their holes and coming out of their hiding. Get up here and we'll show you a thing or two. What does that mean? Yes? That God was on their side. They saw the sign that God was on their side. So Jonathan said, come on, let's go get him. And the armor bearer went up there and they started fighting. And they beat the first guy. And then they started fighting some more and they beat the next guy. The fourth and the fifth, they were into the sword fight, and they beat the 10th guy. Did it stop there? No, he kept on fighting. 15, 16, 17, 18, 19. He beat 20 guys at once, and when everybody else saw what was happening, they got scared and they started panicking. What's going on here? And they all started running away. And when they started running away, right, the other people in the camps further away saw a bunch of their soldiers running away. They didn't know what was happening, and they started panicking, and they started running away. And then when they saw a group of people all running away, the others way down the road said, hey, what's going on here? And they started panicking, and they started running away. And I'm sure one of them asked each other, hey, what are we running away from? I don't know, but I'm really scared. Let's get out of here. And they all started running away. And King Saul and his army saw, hey, what's going on over there in the Philistine camp? They're all running away for some reason. What's going on? And they said, well, check. Is there anybody missing in our camp? So they checked the camp and they said, your son, Jonathan, and his armor bearer are gone. They must be over there fighting. And they're beating everybody. Well, let's join the fight. So the 600 men with King Saul went after those who were running away already. And then they saw 600 men coming. They started running even more. And when they started running away from the 600 men because they didn't really know what was happening, but God put the fear of God in their hearts, all the other Hebrew people who were in hiding, they came out and said, hey, I think we're winning. We better get on the winning team. And they all started joining. And they started chasing the enemy right out of their land. And that's how one person overcame an army vast as the sand on the seashore. How did Jonathan overcome this army? Can somebody tell me? Because God was on their side, okay? And if you know that God's on your side, know that there is nothing impossible, right? But if God isn't on your side, ooh, you better watch out, right? So make sure you know God's will. Make sure that God is on your side and that you're on God's side. And when you know that for sure, you know this is God's will, then don't be afraid of anything. Jump in, and God will give you the victory.